Greetings, God bless, and welcome back. I just wanted to give an update of my boycott of um, HarperCollins, Hachette, Wiley, and Penguin Random House audiobooks because that is my forte. And they sued Open Library that archive is available worldwide to anybody who has access internet that has like basic books. Somebody just scanned these books from like the 90s or the 70s or the 50s or the 1700s. And those publishing companies, Hachette, um, HarperCollins, Wiley, and Penguin Random House, they decided to sue Open Library, this little, higgly piggly open library that is generous enough to have some, it gives everybody a little bit of a library. Shame on those companies, Random House, Hachette, Penguin, etc., Wiley. Shame on them for accusing Open Library of um, cramping their style. Look, if your top sellers are not making it for you, you need to have better authors. You need to have better books. You need to have better marketing. And also know that you're competing with social media. You're competing with Netflix and TikTok and YouTube Shorts. You're competing with Amazon. All right. So maybe sue all of those. Like you guys, HarperCollins, Hachette, Penguin, Random House, and Wiley, you guys are being like little library robber barons now. Now that's where we've come to. Like these, and I know companies are not um, great places or great people, because whenever it's just down to the money, it's the worst and humans come out. So, anyways, I think those publishing companies are globalists that are trying to erase the past, and not just erase the past, not just alter history. I think they want to erase gender roles. This is my speculation. I don't know this for sure, but if we look at the mainstream narrative is there's no such thing as man or woman. There's no such thing as a mother and a father. There's no such thing as a son or a daughter, or grandfather or grandmother. No, that doesn't exist. Mothers don't exist. Men can give birth to babies, and we call them women now. Men can be in women's sports or women's bathrooms because a guy says that's how he feels. And the thing is, like, nobody's complaining quite so much. How come women aren't invading men's sports? Because women cannot compete. Women cannot, um, you know, and that's a whole complicated thing too, because of Illuminati, the Pan Oath, and whatnot that I'm not going to get into. But so, there's different ways that you can show your feelings about this lawsuit. And what I think these publishing companies should do is just leave Open Library alone. Stop this lawfare. And lawfare is like a type of warfare. It's a type of economic warfare that one corporation wages against another corporation. And I think Harper, etc., should stand down. They should just take away their lawsuit, stop this lawsuit, stop harassing this company that is not competing with them. There's no proof that they're really competing. It means, who are they hiring? Who's hurt? Like, if we know what the bank fails, so the banks are like, we need to focus on gender stuff. We're not going to focus on smart business. We're going to focus on pronouns. So is that what HarperCollins is doing? Is that what Hachette is doing? If you look at their websites have people of color. There's no such thing as white people, for instance, because white lives don't matter, even though who's all the globalists? All the globalists are white, okay? Or they have this color skin. Maybe they don't identify as white. But so, anyways, there are ways that are unique to you, that's your personal style, that can tell these publishing companies what you think. And so I think if you can find an email to complain to, some CEO that you can access, I think that's good to email them. And I would donate to Open Library for their legal fees. And so in my library account, I'm boycotting any of these books. So this is what I'm declining to read. I am taking off of my wish lists. I'm taking off of my holds lists, and I'm taking it off of my recommendations lists. And I'm also not going to tell my friends who are librarians, archivists, and prolific readers, I'm not going to recommend any of these books anymore by any of those companies. So today, this is day one. So I've declined to read. I'm boycotting, and I'm giving a 1 star. So I'm giving a 1 star to all of the books from these companies. And yeah, too bad, authors, and I might try to contact the authors and be like, you should complain. And of course, everybody's going to be like, oh, well, I got to do this for my job. I'm going to lose. I won't have any income. I think taking down this free international library is more important. I really think this is a hill that I'm willing to die on. And these authors, who I'm going to give a 1 star because they work for Random House, etc. That's just how it rolls. I mean, there's a lot of crappy things that happen to me that otherwise nice people do because it's expedient, because because they're doing their political activism and I have to sacrifice. So I guess this, 2 wrongs make a right in this situation. And yeah, I think these publishing companies that are suing Open Library should go down. Okay. So I've declined to read. I've boycotted and given a 1 star to the HarperCollins published book, Life of Crime by Martin Edwards. It's a murder mystery. And also, I removed from my holds The Paris Model by Alexandra Joel, which I think might be another mystery book, but I'm not sure. And took off hold Jacques Pepin, Art of Chicken, a food book. I really like Jacques Pepin. Going to read it. I really love mystery novels, but I'm not going to do those things anymore, at least from these companies, what I mean. So I returned a book that I was reading right now. So I'm boycotting this book. I returned it. I'm giving 1 star. It's by Hachette Audio called Home Deep Talks by Danielle Chance. Love the book. That's a great book, but Hachette is suing Open Library. So I am boycotting and giving a 1 star, and I apologize to the author, and the author needs to complain to Hachette and tell Hachette to stop suing Open Library. So I returned and gave a 1 star to a great author, Norman Doidge, does great work, The Brain's Way of Healing, but that is published by Penguin Audio, and they are on my 1 star boycott list. Another book by Penguin is ADHD 2.0 by Edward Hallville. Very good book, but I'm boycotting it and giving it a 1 star and not checking it out. I am taking it off my wish lists, taking it off of my reservations lists, I'll remove it from history. If those 4 publishing companies are going to try to erase history, I am going to do my best to erase them from my life. And instead, look at all these other good companies that decided not to sue Open Libraries. So these following companies are allowing Open Library to exist without lawfare. So Thomas Nelson, you buy books from this publisher and they are not funding, they have refrained from attacking Open Library. Tantor Media refrained from doing lawfare on Open Media or on Open Library. Hay House has refrained from suing Open Library. Recorded Books refrained from suing Open Library. Dreamscape refrained from participating in this lawsuit. Blackstone Publishing refrained from doing the lawsuit against Open Library. Books on Tape refrained from doing this lawsuit. Phoenix Books refrained from suing Open Library. Harper Audio refrained from suing Open Library. New Harbinger Publisher, Simon and Schuster, Kindle, and I bet Amazon's in there though somehow. And Macmillan Audio and Christian Audio. At least that's what I found today. So I recommend those publishing companies. And it's interesting because that's what a dozen publishing companies that decided not to participate in that lawsuit. And I'm sure those four, Hachette, Penguin, I bet they contacted these. I bet they said, "Hey, let's sue Open Library because they're taking 0.9%, 0.0009% of our audience." You know who's using Open Library, folks? People who cannot afford to buy any of Hachette's books, any of Penguin. Like nobody, like these are people who can only afford their time and attention. Okay, so I think those publishing companies just wanted to take out Open Library just part of this imperialistic, sadistic, because it's like they're trying to control reality. Because if there's no library, if there's no history, like in these books, when we're reading Jane Austen, when we are reading and I don't want to say the classic Mark Twain. I don't want to say Shakespeare because they are very influential. I don't know, about them. I'm not a fan actually, but I think even the no-name people that happen to be in Open Library. That's the thing. Open Library has a lot of authors that are not currently being published. So yeah, what is up with those four companies? What did they say is their grudge? Oh, we're losing a 0.000000009% of the. You're not losing anybody because those people who are using Open Library, because it's a bit of a hassle and it's not the greatest software format. Like the people who are using Open Library have no other option. And yet they're smart people. So trying to close Open Library, attacking Open Library is attacking people with no money who are self-motivated and want to be well informed. That's what these evil companies are doing. And you look at their websites, and their websites are so hypocritical because they're like, we're about access for all, blah blah blah, but our books cost. They'll have a Black person on their landing page, and that's like what drives me crazy about these Fortune 500 companies or these high-level academic companies. And it's as if there's no white people. Okay, oh, we got to have a Black person on. You know what? That's a type of racism when 99.9% of the people in your company are white, or 99.9% of the decision makers are white, or 99% of the investors, the shareholders are white. But you're like, oh, but our marketing has to be Black people. Our marketing has to be a white or a Hispanic woman. So it's like these people are hypocrites. And I do think actually that it's the end of the world, and that may lose me credibility for saying that. But even me in a month or 10 months, you too might actually agree with me. Even though it's the end of the world, I think we have to stand fast. We have to stand firm. We have to keep our integrity, and we have to speak up. And I know I'm a little excited or whatever because I'm angry. And I'm so disappointed in Hachette Audio. For 20 years, I've listened to the audiobook where, it says, published by Hachette Audio or published by HarperCollins or um, Penguin or what's and the other one whose name escapes me. And like these publishing companies have been my, you they have been my family, they've been my friends, they've been my companions because books are companions to some of us. And that they would turn on open library. Like open libraries like the quirky, eccentric, boring person that's there if you're like, "Oh, wait, I wanna check out this," because not only is open library, what we're talking about the Wayback Machine, because the Wayback Machine and open library are connected. So, folks, fight this. Like, support open library, support the Wayback Machine, in whatever way that you can, and I think if you're on a budget, like me, I'm on a very limited budget. First thing we do is boycott those evil publishing companies. And in my address book, I have their addresses under E for evil. Okay, these companies are evil. So if the littlest thing you can do is boycott reading any of those books, tell your friends, tell those publishing companies sending letters to these companies. This is the latest that I'm boycotting. I think it'll make a difference. And when you can afford to donate money to the Open Library and Wayback Machine, I would recommend it because legal um, stuff is. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy expensive, and hopefully they have pro bono attorneys because this is an incredible cause to keep the Wayback Machine and Open Library because the Wayback Machine, because these globalists, and that's who I think Hachette and everybody is, I think they're being influenced by Vanguard, BlackRock, the globalists that are trying to erase history, that are trying to recreate society, build back better, and they scrub things from the internet. And I mean, like the stuff like I'm into alternative health and stuff, so I'm like trying to find something, a link to an article about light or something like that. And I'm like, okay, the whoever it was, they didn't they let their website lapse. Okay, I didn't think anything of it, but I would say the past like few years like things have been scrubbed from the internet where it's very hard to find the material. And I think it's because the globalists don't want us to know information or history. So the Wayback Machine is really it's such a blessing. And I think we need to make sure we have access to the past, to the recent past, to the digital past, because we've been discarding our books, right? Because we're like, oh, it's all on the net. And I'm moving, I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm a minimalist. So nobody has any hard copies of anything anymore. And so when they put everything onto the cloud and then they scrub the cloud, nobody has a memory anymore. Nobody knows what the encyclopedia A to Z said, So this isn't just some business, thing. This is some mind control, world control, history reset, and humanity reset. Because when they're going to delete that there's man and woman and heterosexuality and that pedophilia that is not mainstream because they're trying to normalize pedophilia. They're trying to normalize it in the law, is it in cartoons and TV shows. They're trying to normalize cannibalism. They're going to make it be like, yeah, eat bugs, live in the metaverse. And literature shows us something different. For instance, the Bible is banned in 52 countries. The Bible says, don't sacrifice your children to God. Don't sacrifice your little babies to me. But that's what they're doing. The Babylonian death cult. Like that's what injection injury is, you know? That's what war is, when young men are foolishly sent to war to die, because this is a massive human sacrifice thing. So, I lost my train of thought, but what do you guys think? What other things are good to do to help Open Library and the Wayback Machine? How do we how else to remember our humanity? Like that's the thing. Like with the Bible, for instance, the Bible is like God made man and women only. There's not a woman that male to female, female to male. No, God made man and woman, and that was good. That the man and the woman come to connect together. They become one together. It's not man, man, woman, woman. And it's not like a serial relationship of one woman with 10 men. So the Bible says these things. The Bible says, it's an adult man and an adult woman. It's a consensual thing. Not that an adult gets to say, "Oh, this little girl said she had to have sex with me, so I had to have sex with her," in the court of law, and the court's believing the guy. I mean, it's absolutely insane. It's insane that people are so stupid nowadays, and you just protect Open Library, protect the Wayback Machine, protect the freedom of even if you don't understand the Constitution, even if you don't understand the Bill of Rights, even if you don't understand the Bible, just know that the best of civilization, Western civilization, is built on these things, and it's a good precedent. And yes, I know patriarchy did bad things, but you know what? Feminism is just a new type of patriarchy. This new homosexual agenda, this trans agenda, this trans, somebody's got to figure out a word where the new power structure is homosexuality. The new power structure nowadays is homosexuality, transgendered people, and these rabid feminists. These are the new power brokers. And they are. This is what power does when it corrupts. And it's patriarchy. It's a type of patriarchy. It's a type of just bullying. And so we're told, American society tells us that it's men that are evil. It's heterosexual men that are evil. But actually, it's power that's evil. So, so there's Christian, white, heterosexual men that did crummy things, that were bullies, or they abused power. And we have seen this now with feminism, that feminists, in my opinion, are just as patriarchal. Any human being that gets into a position of power, of preference, of just carte blanche, they abuse power. And we're seeing this with the trans men in women's bathrooms and raping girls in the bathroom or in prison, or getting women pregnant in prison, and these people are saying, "I'm a woman." So this is a man who says that they're a woman, but they're getting women pregnant. That's the definition of a man, is somebody who can get a woman pregnant. A biological woman cannot get a biological woman pregnant. But we're in such an idiocracy. People are so dumbed down, and they're so afraid to say what they know. And folks, you got to say what you know. I'm not saying go lose your job. I'm not saying go be violent. I'm just saying speak up. Say what you know. And if you don't know, then you can rest on the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Bible. Just use that as your guide, because that has successfully guided our country and Western civilization, the Magna Carta. Those foundational documents were a lamp during a lot of turmoil. And any folks that are about violence, these Bolsheviks, Marxist, BLM, anybody who's talking about who's also promoting hate. Like folks were trying to say the thing that happened the first week of January. Um, like so the people that were in that white building, they stayed within the velvet ropes. I don't know about you, but when I've gone into the Louvre, we stayed in between the velvet ropes, and we went where the tour guides or the security guys told us. And that's exactly what I noticed in that white building in that first week of January, is people were just like looking around at the walls and the art and staying within the velvet ropes. But folks are trying to say that there was this like coup d'etat or something like that happened then. Um, and yet, if you look, the guy with the horns he had like 10 photographers who were all strategically spaced around him taking his picture. And I mean, that's like a press engagement. That's like that for 10 professional photographers to be there and a guy who's a professional actor to be made up in a costume. That to me seems like that was a planned event, because these are busy people who have things to do, places to go, people to see, gigs to make money so they can, you know, like do their cocaine and see their prostitutes and have your 10 family on the side. So um yeah, I know I'm kind of like running all over the place here, but what do you think is a good, what am I missing about telling these publishing companies, you know, that they're doing something wrong? Like what more to do? And what other ways do we protect Open Library and the Wayback Machine? Um, so I know what I said, it's just my opinion, it's my observation. This is not the opinion of this platform. Um, so uh, I love to hear your comments, and thank you for watching. God bless.